Hi, it's John from Android Addicts, and this is a speed test and benchmark comparison between the Lenovo Legion 2 Pro, the Asus Rog Phone 5, the RedMagic 6R, and the Galaxy S21. So each of these phones here have the Snapdragon 888 processor, they have 8GB of RAM, and UFS 3.1 storage. They all have a 144Hz display running at 1080p, all except for the Galaxy S21 here, which runs at 120Hz at 1080p. Okay, so you may be wondering why there is a USB dongle plugged into all of these phones, and I will just show you. So this monstrosity I've created here is how I'm going to control the phones, and when I press down here, like so, all the screens will press at exactly the same time. Now obviously I could, if I wanted to, just press over here, or I could just press over here to select whichever mouse I wanted to, but what's the point in doing that? I'm going to be pressing both at the same time, as much as I can at least, and therefore it'll be as fair a test as possible. So if you do enjoy this video and you want more like this in the future, please do click the like button and subscribe to my channel, as that really helps out. But without further ado, let's get on with the test and see how they all compare. Okay, so we're going to start off with the boot test here. I've arranged these as best I can to try and get them all started at exactly the same time. So I'm going to be pressing with my thumbs here and then pushing the corner of the phones into the other phone to get them started up. Now this Legion's a bit wobbly, so it may or may not work. In fact, if I do this and this, let's give it a go. Okay, so I'm going to just rearrange these back into the right order. It did take a few takes to actually get that to work. Okay, so the Legion has won the boot test, followed very closely by the RedMagic and the S21, and following at the rear is the Rog Phone 5. Okay, so here is the setup, and we can see they're all at 100% battery. We have just lost 1% on the RedMagic 6R, but they were all fully charged up to 100%. They're all on full brightness with auto brightness turned off, and like I said before, we're all running at 144Hz except for the S21, which is running at 120 adaptive. Okay, and we have the floating temperature widget at the top right of each screen here. So we're currently running at 28 degrees on the Legion, 27 degrees on the Rog 5, 28 on the RedMagic 6R, and 30 on the S21. Okay, so before we go too far, I just want to show you. Now, the Legion 2 here does have a fan on the back, which is used for cooling. If that is blocked up at any point, it doesn't really matter because the air gets sucked in through the right here and it will come out through the left still. So it's not a problem at all if the phone is flat down. Obviously, all the other phones have a case on, and you know, as most people would have a case, I think that's a fair enough test to leave the cases on and just see how they all perform. Okay, so I've put some time codes in the description if you want to jump to any particular part of this test. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to run through the app speed test here. So we'll go through each app, open them up, see which one opens first. We'll then do some memory management and then see which phone handles its RAM better. We'll then move on to the gaming test and just see how fast each game loads up. We can do a Wi-Fi test at the end there, followed by the 3 benchmark tests. Okay, so don't forget I'm going to be using this contraption here to control the loading of the apps. I won't bother doing it for the memory management, it's not worth it. But basically when I press down, as you can see, they're all going to press at exactly the same time. I've got them all set up to connect to the 5 GHz Wi-Fi network, Bluetooth and locations on, do not disturb on, and full brightness is configured on all phones. Okay, I'll just put the current software versions of these phones on the screen so you can have a look. Now the latest update on the Legion is quite old, but that's just how it is, I'm afraid. These two are a couple of months or a month or so out of date, and the S21 here is the most up to date with the July update. Anyway, I'll stop talking now and we'll get on with the test. Okay then, so now we're going to go through the memory management of all the phones and just see which apps are still in memory and which are not. If the app is still in memory, the phone will be awarded a point. If the app reloads, then obviously no point will be awarded. Okay, so we can see from the results there that the Legion 2 Pro here was definitely worse with its memory management, or at least it was more aggressive, closing apps in the background when they weren't being used. Okay, we're going to clear these out of memory now. We can see the temperatures. I'll just load back up on here. We're currently at 34 degrees, 34, 35 and 35. So very similar temperature-wise here. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the game loading tests. So I'm just going to start them up and we'll see which one comes out on top. Okay, so we can see from the graphics settings here, I've got them all set to smooth and extreme for both the lobby and combat. Now, interesting to note here that all phones except for the S21 do actually now support 90 FPS. I will keep it at smooth and extreme, and we've got AA turned off and everything else turned off here. Keep it exactly the same. And I'm going to go into the training level here. Now, I can't click on this with the mouse, sadly. So I'm just going to have to go one at a time. So the S21 there did take quite a long time. We do have the checks on startup sometimes, which is a bit unfair, but we do sometimes get a security check, so we can't really avoid that. So I won't award any points for that. Okay, so now we're going to load up Call of Duty. Okay, so that was a nice win there for the ROG 5, followed very closely by the S21, then the Legion 2, and the RedMagic 6R. Okay, so here we have everything set to low and max. The RedMagic 6R and the ROG 5 do support Ultra, but we're going to keep it exactly the same as the others to make it as fair a test as possible. And what we're going to do, we're going to go into a multiplayer bot match, and we're going to start on the hijack level. So again, I'm just going to start these as quick as I can. See the temperature here is at 36 degrees. Sadly it's disappeared off the ROG 5 at the moment. We're at 38 on the 6R and 37 on the S21. So we're now just going to do a bit of memory management here and just see if PUBG is still in RAM. And it is in RAM on all phones, that's good. And we will just switch back to COD and make sure that's still there. Okay, interestingly, it has died from the Legion 2 here. So what we will do is just exit out of here on the other phones. Okay, next up is Genshin Impact. Okay, so these are all running on the default medium graphics, just so that you're aware. We're now at 39 degrees here on the Legion 2, 39, 41, and for the ROG Phone 5, we're at 38. ROG Phone 5 does hide the floating widget during a game, sadly. But let's just go back and see if COD is still in RAM. It is indeed still there on all of them. And we will check PUBG. And amazingly, it is actually there on all four of them. So for gaming, the phones seem to be quite good with their memory management, that's for sure. Okay, and last up we're going to load up Fortnite. So there we are, that actually pretty much loaded up in order of the phones on the desk. Okay, these are all set to 30 frames per second and epic graphics. The only phone here that can do 60 is the S21 on the right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is load into the tutorial level. Again, I can't use the mouse for this, so I'm just going to press these as quick as I can. Okay, we're just going to check and see if Genshin is still in memory. And it has gone from all four, which isn't surprising really. I mean, Fortnite is a huge game. That is Understandable. Okay, so the temperatures at the end of the speed test here are 39, 39, 42 and 39. So very, very similar between all four of them. And now we're going to move on to the benchmarking. Okay, so I've let the phones cool down sufficiently now. They're running at about 29 to 30 degrees each. And what I'm going to do now is run through the benchmark tests. So I've got these set up with their respective sort of game boosting modes here. Now the Galaxy S21 does not have one, sadly, but I've turned on enhanced processing. That's basically the best we can do here. So these are just going to get maxed out as much as possible while we go through the benchmarks. Okay, so we're going to turn on Rampage here on the Legion 2. We've got X mode turned on here on the Rog Phone 5. We've got Super Performance here turned on the RedMagic 6R. And again, like I said, we've got enhanced processing turned on for the Galaxy S21. That's the best we can do here. So let's run these benchmarks and see how they get on. I'll skip to the end of this because it's a bit boring and we'll just see what the results are afterwards. Okay, so the results here on the Legion 2 and Rog 5 are very similar here. 1132, 3661 and 3662, so that's almost identical there. Now the RedMagic is slightly behind here with 1120 and 3550, with the S21 trailing in the end with 1111 and 3345. But to be fair, it's not too bad a result for the S21 here, but as you can see here, the Rog and the Legion are powering in front with their scores. So we're now going to move on to the compute benchmark, and again, we'll see how they all compare. All the settings are the same here. Okay, so amazingly the S21 has actually come out in first place here with a score of 4718 for its compute score, followed very closely by the Legion 2 here with 4715. Third place goes to the Rog 5 of 4655, and trailing at the end with a slightly pitiful score of 3122 is the RedMagic 6R. So we can see here all the CPUs are clocked at exactly the same speed, so the only variations here are going to be the tuning of the software on the phones. Okay then, next up we have AnTuTu Benchmark. I've let the phones cool down a bit here, so we're about 30 degrees, 32 degrees. And we're going to run the test now and see how they all perform. Okay, so some very nice results there on the AnTuTu Benchmark test. In first place we have the RedMagic 6R here with a score of 815,285, followed closely by the Legion 2 Pro here with 810,859. Third place goes to the Rog 5 with 799,603, and bringing up the rear we have the Galaxy S21 with 734,783. So I'm going to let these phones cool down and then we're going to go into the stress test and see how they all compare there. Okay then, it's time to run the 15-minute stress test here. The safety temperature is set to 50 degrees on all phones. So let's see how they get on and check the results when they're finished. Okay, and the stress tests have now finished and the results are quite interesting, so I'm going to put them on the screen and we can have a look through them here. So let's have a look at the CPU performance between the four to start with. So the Legion 2 Pro here is doing really well here. We can see that the Rampage mode really does make this CPU get pretty much maxed out almost completely. We're at about, I'd say, averaging around 90% CPU performance on the Legion 2 Pro. Compare that to the ROG Phone 5 here. It starts off a bit slower and it seems to actually hover around the 80% with a few spikes up to 100 and around 90% every now and again, but nothing in comparison to the Legion 2 Pro there. Now, if we have a look at the RedMagic 6R here, it's quite interesting as well. We are just over 80%. I'd say that's around just below 90, so maybe around 85% for the majority of the tests. That's pretty good. Now, we did have a few spikes which go up to 100%, but nothing really compared to the ROG Phone 5, but it is a very good performance overall. And now if we look at the poor Galaxy S21 here, the performance is spiking more frequently to 100%, but it does actually start throttling at around the 7 minutes and 39 mark, where we can see the performance goes down to around 40 or 50%, peaking up at 60 every now and again. So it's a bit of a shame, but that is how the Galaxy S21 performed at the moment. Now the temperature in this room is quite warm, but I've done the best I can to make this a fair test, so this is what the results have been for the performance. And now if we have a look at the CPU cores, we can see on the Legion 2 they have run absolutely perfectly at their max potential. ROG Phone 5, a couple of dips here and there, but pretty much spot on at their max potential as well. Same goes for the RedMagic 6R. This is on par with the Legion 2 Pro, so that's very nice to see. And here again we see the poor S21 here throttling at around 745, which then clocks the cores back down to a level to stop them from overheating. So it's a bit of a shame, but the S21 does come in last here, followed by the ROG Phone 5, followed by the RedMagic 6R, and then the Legion 2 Pro is number 1. Okay, next up we're starting the wildlife test in 3D Mark here. See how they get on with this one. I'll fast forward through this, but we'll get to the end and see how they all perform. Okay, so the wildlife results are in, and the winner here is the RedMagic 6R with 5854, followed very closely by the ROG 5 with 5833. Third place goes to the Legion 2 Pro with 5762, and last place goes to the S21 with 5677. So I'm going to let the phones cool down a bit and then we'll move on to the Sling Shot test. Okay, so the phones are cooled down a bit now. We're around 30 degrees. You can see here on the ROG 5, 30 degrees. So we're going to do the Sling Shot test now and just see how they all compare. Okay, so the Sling Shot scores are as I would have expected really. All phones maxed out apart from the S21. This doesn't ever max out really, it's just the way it is. But the winner here overall is the RedMagic 6R with a fantastic result overall, beating both the Legion and the ROG on most of the tests here. So yeah, very impressed with those scores. Okay, so we're just going to do a quick internet speed test on these four phones as well. Now my internet connection runs at around 60 megabits per second down and about 20 up. So that's what we'll hopefully be seeing on these phones here. So that's a point to the S21 here with a download of 58.9 up of 70.6, followed very closely by the RedMagic 6R, then the ROG Phone 5, and the Legion 2 comes in last place with just 46 megabits per second. So if we have a look at the batteries at the end of the test now, we can see that the Legion 2 has 61% remaining, the ROG Phone 5 has 59% remaining, the RedMagic 6R 48%, and the S21 56%. Okay, so we've come to the end of the test now, and as you can see there's not really much difference at all between these four phones. So the Legion comes in third place with 11 points, the ROG 5 and RedMagic 6R come in second place with 12 points, and at the number one spot is the Galaxy S21 with 13 points. Okay, so as these are all so close, the main thing we need to consider here is the cost of each phone. So currently in the UK, as of this video, the retail price for these phones is as follows. So the Legion 2 Pro comes in at £700, the ROG Phone 5 comes in at £800, the RedMagic 6R comes in at £429, and the Galaxy S21 comes in at £819. So the most expensive phone has won in this case, but the cheapest phone, the RedMagic 6R 429, has actually come in second place. So it's only a point behind, and yet it's very close to being half the price of the Galaxy S21. The ROG Phone 5, £800. Again, that's very expensive for what you're getting here, but you are paying for the name, as with the Galaxy S21. The Legion 2 Pro phone is quite expensive too, £700. Now that's mainly because of the cost of manufacturing. It's quite expensive with the pop-up camera and the way they've designed the phone with the built-in cooling system. But yeah, I would certainly say that for value for money, I would say that the RedMagic 6R is the best phone out of the bunch. I did also find that with my gaming tests, which I'll put some links down below if you want to check those out. I have done gaming tests on the Legion and ROG as well as the S21 of course. So I've put some links down below to check those out and you can compare those at your leisure. I do have a creator code for the RedMagic 6R which gets you some money off if you do want to order one of those, so be sure to use my link down below just to save a tiny bit of money on the cost of the phone. But yeah, I was quite surprised actually by these results. I was expecting at least one of them to sort of run away with the lead, but they are very comparable to each other. So at the end of the day, you've got to look at all the specs of each phone, check your bank account and see how much money you've got, and then make your executive decision as to which phone you go for. But if you have any questions at all regarding these phones, please do leave them down below and I'll do my best to help out and answer them. Please do like this video and subscribe to my channel, as that really helps out. And you can also become a member of the channel by clicking on the join button down below. And again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.